Hello and welcome to the news review program. I am Fatu Kamara and I am right here with Omar Wali. And I will start with the newspapers and then Omar will go ahead with the reports and we'll bring you an interview later on in the program. But first we will start with the Standard newspaper, and it says Human Rights Commission condemns threats from Henry Gomez. That's the top of the news on the Standard. It says the National Human Rights Commission yesterday issued a statement condemning a remark made by a senior government official at a recent political rally of President Adama Barrow in Birkama. In the statement, the NHRC says we condemn in the strongest possible terms statements reportedly made by presidential advisor Mr. Henry Gomez during a political rally in Birkama on Saturday the 16th of June, in which is reported that he said that would be demonstrators risk being shot at if they condemn protest marches demanding that President Barrow steps down after 3 years, and citing as warning April 10 and 11, in which 14 Gambians were shot following demonstrations by school children, as reference to what that happened again. And Mrs. Harriet Ndao passes away, a prominent educationist and proprietress of the Ndao's comprehensive network of schools. Mrs. Harriet Ndao has died. She was believed to be in her late 80s. Mrs. Ndao attended Ashimota College in Ghana to train as a primary school teacher, and also taught as a qualified teacher in 1948 at St. Joseph's Primary in Banjul. And Jalangba man murdered. A man believed to be one of the imams in Birkama, Jalamba, was found dead just behind Gambia College on the back road to Jalangba on Tuesday. Eyewitnesses report that the man is to be one Seydou Bari, who was almost certainly attacked, resulting in his death. The victim, who was staying at Imam Junction in Jalangba, is also known to be a livestock trader at the Birkama Livestock Market, where he trekked back and forth every day. A police source confirmed the body was discovered from the location but could not give any details. A resident of Jalangba said the late Bari was a devoted Muslim who regularly led prayers in Jalangba. And Gambian confessed to being bisexual. Gambian man 44 named Widhel has confirmed to the Standard newspaper that he has been accidentally turned into a bisexual and he is trying hard without success to come out of it. My life is destroyed by this behavior and I cannot let go the habit of having sex with both male and female partners, the visibly tormented man told the Standard newspaper. According to the man, he is married to a woman but continuously sleeps with men to earn money. I got introduced into homosexuality by a white man when I was a juice presser selling juice on the beach. The man befriended me, visited my wife and family, and offered to pay my children's school fees and even bought me a plot of land, all of which promises he kept, he said. And Soldier Turchett jailed for 9 years after a false confession. That's also on the Standard newspaper. And the Point newspaper, man 65 allegedly killed by robbers. That's on there. Colonel Durcham's driver claims he was tricked to be used as witness in the 2006 coup. Justice Minister and different authors, state government's FGM involvement, and also Mrs. Dao's story is on there. I will now pass on to Omar. Thank you for dragging me here without enough makeup. This sucks.
You might read this on the script too.
Oh no, you're reading that one. That's yours.
Now, the National Human Rights Commission of the Gambia says the commission has received what it describes as a serious and discriminatory practice in the Sarahule communities in the Gambia. The commission said it is aware of some I can't pronounce it.
What's that?
Provocative acts in Sarahule communities against those considered as slaves. It also says that it has credible facts about caste system in other regions of the country. More in this report by our editor, Lamin Jai.
A painstaking investigation by the FATU network that offered a comprehensive understanding of the Koina incident. The special report was first aired by the FATU network on Thursday, June 13th. A fortnight ago, the nation woke up to the news of an outbreak of another caste-related clashes in the Upper River region, this time in Koina, in which houses were set ablaze and properties vandalized. Scores were also injured during the violence. The police later rounded up and detained nearly 24 people suspected of involvement in the rampage. On Tuesday, NHRC said it has received reports of serious and discriminatory practices in Serahule communities in the Gambia, where those who regard themselves as nobles have been provoking those that they regard as slaves by using derogatory, insulting, and threatening language, resulting in fighting, assault, and disorderly conduct. The commission says it is also aware that caste system is still widespread in some parts of the country in the North Bank region, the Central River region, and the Upper River region, where some tribes and clans regard others within their own tribes and communities as inferior and others as superior. The commission also says some communities have also been known to discriminate those they regard as recent arrivals and therefore regard them as strangers as opposed to those they regard as the original settlers. According to the Commission, this kind of discriminatory labeling has translated into discriminatory practices in relation to land ownership and land use, marriage, including segregated burial sites for nobles and slaves. The NHRC not only condemns any or all forms of discrimination against anyone within the soil of the Gambia, but also wants to make it categorically clear that it is illegal and unlawful under the laws of the Gambia and all the international treaties and conventions that the Gambia has ratified for anyone to discriminate against anybody based on tribe, ethnicity, race, gender, religion, and/or social status. NHRC says it is therefore calling on all community leaders, religious leaders, opinion leaders, elders, civil and public servants, and the citizenry to be very wary and to desist from making discriminatory statements or engaging in discriminatory practices.
Gambia. Hello?
Hello?
waaye ma call ak different line nu fa demee noonu xanaa.
sama téléphone bi dafa daanu toj. ba pare nangu ta taal.
waaw ok léegi lu ma def mooy instead of ma yónni phone bi. di ko jox nit muy jël e1 month naa la booleeg smartphone house ñoom su ma defee payment bi tey mun nga koo jëli.
naa fa jaar man na nekk téléphone bu naay.
non naa la surprise ay tamit xam nga yow rek laa nopp.
yow mi nekk Amérique wala Europe war a yónnee mobile muy jël ay weer smartphone house ñëw pour rek noppal leen looy def rek mooy nga def payment ñu deliver phone bi tey.
salaamaaleykum.
maaleykum asalaam.
man de sama jëkkër moo ma boole ak yéen. Mohamed Ndiaye.
Mohamed Ndiaye.
waaw Sweden.
maa ma waxamoon tey si suba.
waaw daf ma call suma téléphone bi yaaxu mu ne ma demal smartphone house ma ne ko waaye loolu gaaw na ni mu ne ma demal rek.
moom utal na la fi benn. mooy iPhone 8 Plus.
macha allah.
ak smartphone house emuñ ci jaay mobile rek waaye dañuy jaay computer ay yére ak daala yi nga xam ne rek original lañ ba tax nag ku bugg a xam fi nga xam ne mooy smartphone house da ngaa dem Kairaba Avenue opposite fi nga xam ne mooy Barcelona shop.
Few hours after our publication of an appeal for a wheelchair for a young girl who was struggling with mobility challenges for several years, a good Samaritan today walked into our offices along the Kairaba Avenue to chip in. Mr. Amadou Demba this morning popped into our offices to say he had a wheelchair for a little girl who lives in a small village near Basse in the Upper River region. This may come as a pleasant surprise to not only the child but her parents as well. A brief handing over engagement was today held here in our offices.
Hello everyone, this is the Fatu Network studios along the Kairaba Avenue. A few days ago, a gentleman wrote to us saying that there is this special needs girl in a small village called Sifola. Sifola is somewhere around Basse. This is where this young girl lives. This is a special needs girl, a girl who cannot even walk. And then the gentleman in his message was seeking for assistance for us to find a way of, trying to get people to help this girl. The girl cannot walk. So today we posted up this message on our platform, on our Facebook page, and the response, I must say, has been massive. A lot of people, came forward wanting to help this girl. So we have in our studio a gentleman who just walked into our studio and said they want to help this girl. But I'll just allow the gentleman to just introduce himself and say a few words in respect of this gesture.
Thank you very much. My name is Amadou Demba. I'm here for Gambia Charitable Organization. I'm the country director for the foundation. Well, about the girl, I just saw the story pop in my in my phone, so I couldn't waste time because I was so touched by the story. I can imagine a living human being who cannot walk, and and she had to go to school, and she didn't have a wheelchair. So I was in position with a wheelchair, donated by a sponsor in the Netherlands. So I could not waste any time. So I had to rush so that I could be the donor on behalf of Gambia Foundation. So here I am with the wheelchair. So I think it's going to be beneficiary for the girl.
Thank you very much. So I think without any further ado, what we will do is maybe you brought this wheelchair. I think this one would go a long way in helping the girl, because we also understand the girl goes to school. So this will help her a lot in her, not just her education, but in her life as a whole. So what we will do on behalf of our network, the Father Network, and on behalf of course, the girl's family, we would like to thank you for walking into our studio and bringing us this to, and rest assured we will definitely make sure that we take this wheelchair to the girl. Basse is a bit far, but we will find a way of connecting with them to ensure that this wheelchair gets to the girl in the soonest possible time.
Well, that was Lamin Jai there talking to Mr. Amadou Demba.
Yes, and before you go, I just want to say thank you to Demba. We got a message. Actually, I saw the message this morning. It's been there a few days because sometimes we have a whole lot of messages to go through. But then I saw a picture of a girl that we posted that she needs a wheelchair, and that was when we put this up on our Facebook. And I can tell you right now we have over maybe 10 or 15 other people who are willing to give the same girl wheelchair. Some even offered to give money for us to buy. But Demba happened to come to the office, so that's why we couldn't take all this wheelchair that are offered. But we had a whole lot of different offers. A lot of people in the UK, some people in the US, some people in the Gambia. They've all decided that they've all contacted us that they want to give this girl another wheelchair, but we have one, and I think she needed one. We would definitely make every arrangement. I'll try to see if I can go to Basse myself, because I definitely would like to meet this girl. And also meet, you remember the other boy who was fanning the chief or I definitely would like to meet that boy as well. I was trying to find out about the condition of the road I had is very good. I know you've not been to that area for a long time.
I've been there, but it's just from Basse to Masen. That's like less than 2 minutes drive when they were.
But it's 7 hours drive.
No, I know. Yeah, I've never been to that area, but
really? Oh my God!
I've been there.
You've never been to Koina? This new Gambians.
Gambians, you know this country.
Yeah, but you should go. I've been to, I think, almost every part of Gambia. Yeah. But definitely, yes. Thank you all very much. For the ones who promised to give us a wheelchair, we already have one for her. We are trying to get in contact with her family. The person who sent us the information, I've been talking to him. And we will try to make every arrangement to go and drop this off in Basse. And I definitely may go.
When are we going to Basse?
You want to come?
Yes, I want to come.
Well, let's see. Let's see. Hopefully, I don't know.
Now, we will have another person. We will be discussing about the current issues. But you came, I know, recently. You have been following developments on the social media. The human rights...
Am I here for an interview or was here as your co-host?
We are discussing before...
Yes.
So, what do you also make of this comment made by the presidential advisor, the former sports minister?
Well, I was trying to listen to where he said that they were going to shoot people if they come out, but I actually didn't hear that. But like I was reading here, he said something like what happened before. I was trying to think where did he say those words exactly. I couldn't find that, but they said he mentioned that something that happened before 2000 will happen again, something like that. That's a very unfortunate comment if that is exactly what Henry Gomez said. I was trying to listen to this, but I was traveling and I couldn't catch up because I know that meeting was a very long one. I saw some short videos that the Fatu Network put up. I happened to listen to those. But this whole thing looks like this government is very worried about this 3 years Jotna. But if I were the government, I mean, they really do not have to worry about it. Let them just do what they have to do and know that definitely, in as much as other people want to protest, we also understand that the security of the other people who do not want to protest is very important. So we understand that when there is a protest that is about to turn violent, that the government would step in to make sure that the country is safe, to make sure that people are safe. But if they want to start going around threatening people, saying if you do this is what we're going to do, I don't think that is very reasonable. I think they just need to concentrate on governing the country and stop giving out threats.
So, but why is it that this government is kind of worried? They promise democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly. Barrow said these things during the inauguration, but 2 years down the line, those things are changing. And these are the same people who have been crying, clamoring for democracy, and now they are doing what they accuse Jammeh of doing.
Well, you see, I mean, these things are difficult. It's very easy to speak when you are not in it, to say this is what I will do, but when you get inside, you seem to see a different picture. Like I always say, maybe this could be the people who are advising the president. They could tell him, no, you know, these people, when they come out, do this, or I don't even think that is an issue to worry about. Because most of the people, I've also seen on Facebook, a lot of people saying they're not going out for no Jotna because the constitution says 5 years. Why are they worried? Not the whole country is not saying that they're going to protest. I, for one, I am not protesting. Because I believe that if Barrow is going to go for 5 years, there is nothing wrong with that. Let them go for 5 years. After that 5 years, we're going to have an elections. And when the election comes, whoever wants to contest and win the election, that person will be our next president. So I see no reason why they should be very worried about this, making this whole issue. Like Ahmad Bah speaking about it, Henry Gomez speaking about it. I mean, they should have better things to do. There are other pressing issues, other important things like the economy is a problem. Water is a problem. Yesterday, the electricity was out. That's also an issue. Let them concentrate on that. Hopefully before December, when they do the right thing, people will even call them and say, we're not protesting anymore. Continue for 5 years.
Do you think the government will be able to do? We're looking at, they have wasted too much time on one thing, and they are kind of concentrating more on politics than
you know, that started since the beginning. We have to face it. This is why I said I am not part of Gambian politics, because there's a lot of hypocrisy. There's a lot of stuff that need to be addressed that people are not talking about. The thing is, this politics with this government started a long time ago. When they came in, that is when the pushing and pulling started. When Barrow came in, and then you have all these other members of the coalition, I think it was only PDOIS that was a bit, you know, about it, but the rest, they were all pushing. They all wanted to be president. They were all trying to force their way in. That kind of got Barrow to also say, let me also hold tight. Because if I don't do this, but if in the beginning they all went in there and say our intention is to work for this country and our intention is to put country first, it would have been different. But they all were there fighting for the presidency. So Barrow himself, who was right there saying, he also decided to start fighting. So the beginning is what was wrong. The whole beginning was wrong. Okay. It was wrong. They started on a very wrong footing.
Now, wrong footing, but like yes. Henry has an ambition to be president. Ahmad Bah also wants to be president one day because he has a political party. So if they are making certain remarks, what do you mean? What does this mean for their political career?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I mean, Ahmad Bah and Henry Gomez, they all have a presidential ambition.
Yes.
But if they are coming to out declaring or making certain statements like this, what do you think what does this mean for their political career? Well,
I think they're more interested in staying with Barrow and working with Barrow. So I would not be surprised if there is a coalition again and Ahmad Bah and Henry Gomez decide to stay with President Adama Barrow. I think for them, they're comfortable where they are right now. That's what it looks like. I don't think they have those ambitions anymore. It doesn't look like it.
The Human Rights also made a comment regarding the caste problem in Basse. What do you also make of this situation in the 21st century? People categorizing each other slaves and so on.
It's a very unfortunate situation, and I think the government is being quiet about it, but they need to find out what is happening. Maybe go over there, send some people, try to find out. It's unfortunate. I watched the entire video that our editor Lamin Jai did when he went there. Very sad. And they're talking about caste system, talking about slavery, and you have this little boy fanning the chief or the village head. That also, wasn't pretty at all.
Okay, I have Yunus online. Yunus Haidara. Yunus, welcome to the Fatu Network.
Hello, good evening to you both. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Dr. Yunus.
Hi, how are you both? First of all, I would like to commend you guys for the great gesture that you facilitated to get a wheelchair for the young girl all the way in Basse. It's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Omar, thank you for the invite.
Thank you. So, you also reacted to Henry Gomez and Hamad Baz and even Barlow's statement, the Interior Minister, that they should retract and apologize to Gambians.
Right. I've seen the social media condemnation, including the Human Rights Commission, and that was good for them to publicly denounce such threatening statements coming from our officials. This, unfortunately, has validated all the concerns that I've heard about this government since the onset, because I believe that there's a government that didn't know their left and right. They were just blindly taking shots and had no real vision on how they wish to transform this country. They deviated from the coalition agenda, and they were focused on politicking, as Father said. If they had focused on working, then they wouldn't have to use the formula that they are using currently, intimidating and threatening. They would simply win the hearts of the Gambian people by doing the right thing. Gambians, we are understanding. We are pragmatists. We know what is possible. But if they're not doing what is possible, then they will always resort to the tactics that they're using, trying to intimidate people, using statements that are very irresponsible and very unfortunate in the public space. So I would call on Henry Gomez, if he actually said this, because I didn't really hear it on the videotape, but I've seen people who I believe are very credible individuals who are denouncing it, including the Human Rights Commission. And Omar, Mr. Mbalo's statement, since the death of Haruna, is it Haruna Jatta, may God rest his soul, I was one of those who thought the force use was very excessive at the time, and they could have done better by simply using a non-lethal approach. And this is one of the mechanisms I suggested. But he went overboard because normally using water cannons that sprays water at high velocity is maybe enough force to quell a situation. But he went to say they're using hot water, and that tells me that they are thinking of creating bodily harm. And this is a country who cannot even afford to provide paracetamol to people, are threatening bodily harm, and is irresponsible. I call for both of them to come and retract their statement and apologize to the Gambian people if they have conscience, and if they have any iota of respect for the Gambian people, that they are paying them to serve their needs.
Now, do you think the government they have some time to win the heart of people instead of issuing threats?
Well, it's getting late, that's for sure, because with the pace, snail pace that this government was going since its inception, I knew they wouldn't achieve anything in the 3 years. And if they can't do anything in 2.5 years, I really doubt that they can do anything in the remaining few months that they have for 3 months. I personally am yet to take any stance on this 2, 3 or 5 years issue, but because I have my own reasons, which is I don't want to really be part in anything that would precipitate a constitutional crisis.
So
let
me interrupt you there. You mean you are neutral as far as these 3-5 years is concerned?
And this has been my position since the start. I could sway in both sides regardless, depending on how this government continues to be reckless towards the needs of the Gambian people. But for me personally, I don't see a suitable alternative for Barrow at the moment with the crop of politicians that we have.
But how can you be on the fence? Because like I always said, the Berlin Wall collapsed, so you cannot be sitting on the fence. Either you are with 3 years or you are with 5 years, or which fence are you sitting on?
Like I said, I've had but when the government first came over, they said they're coming for 3 months, 3 years transition. Okay. But prior to they agreeing on this 3 months, I endorsed Dr. Toure to be the president, to be the flag bearer, and Dr. Toure came with full 5-year, 1 term. So I endorsed that already. So to say that I can say to the government, no, you're gonna have to go with 3 years, I was all right with it, because from what I knew, this government, how the information was stifled in the country, I knew that these people did not have access to information to do proper assessment of the situation, to make accurate decisions like that. So I told some of the people who've engaged me on this issue on social media, I told them, allow them the flexibility. It's up to them to make it 2 years or 1 year, or 4 years or 5 years. Let's allow them the flexibility because of the circumstances of how they took over this power and the fact that they were making these decisions in the dark.
Yeah.
So I would maintain that position.
Yunus,
for now.
Dr. Yunus, I just want to say, right now, somebody is saying, referring to what I was talking about, I said I don't mind the 5 years. So somebody said that when I said the starting was wrong, they started on a wrong footing because they were all in there pushing for themselves to be president. Somebody said the opposition can do that, but Barrow cannot do that because Barrow does not have a political party. But here is my take. I know that now when you speak, you have to speak for a certain group. If you don't, you are supporting Barrow. But Barrow himself knows that I'm not supporting him. If I feel like supporting Barrow, I will come out and say I'm supporting him. I have no time to support any political party right now. But what I'm trying to say is true, Barrow does not have a political party, but you have to remember that if somebody is the president and you have him surrounded by people, all of whom want to be a president, already this man is there. What are they teaching him? When this coalition agreement came, everybody said it was going to be for 3 years, and we all agreed that it was going to be for 3 years, until when an expert in the constitution, lawyer Usainu Dabo, came out and said, no, it's going to be 5. I mean, then we cannot just be sitting here and changing stuff because that's what suits us. I think that's madness. That's what I'm trying to say. We cannot say today 5 years and tomorrow we turn around and say 3 years. Because if everything was sweet, we were going to stick with the 5 years. I mean, that is the issue. That is the problem that we're having here in this country. People want to go with things that would suit them. If it doesn't suit them, they want you to make an automatic change. Some of the people who are fighting for these 5 years, or people who are fighting to say Barrow must go, if you guys want to fight, you are free to fight. Nobody is stopping you from fighting. But those who have been fighting for a long time, they know what it is like fighting. So, but don't tell us, Yunus, what I'm saying is they're saying that because Barrow does not have a political party, he cannot have a political ambition. That doesn't make sense to me. Does it make any sense to you?
I think I know what you're saying, but we've all seen the hypocrisy that manifested with the party that you're talking about. They said 5 years before, and now they are saying 3 years. But I think this whole thing should be less of what the UDP, and we focus more on what's in the best interest of the country.
Exactly.
For UDP as the party, we know, me personally, I have my opinion, and I've said it many, many times, that they really focus too much on their interest, and they don't care about the national interest, because many times some of the things that they are condemning now, they've defended in the past. Things like anonymous donations,
yes.
and many other things that they in the past have defended. Now they are denouncing it. So for me, they are not genuine critics. I just ignore them. If I want to annoy them, I go back to them. But I think on this issue, it's got to a point that we should all think about what's on the best interest of the country. And which is, for me personally, like I said, I don't want to be part of something that would precipitate a constitutional crisis right now, because if we say Barrow should step down, that means he will be replaced by the vice president. And then the next argument would be the vice president doesn't have the mandate of the people, so she will have to be stepped down. She won't be accepted or respected as a president. And if we cannot have elections immediately, Gambia will be in a complete chaos. And that's, for me, it's not my one thing that I wish for Gambia. Barrow, he came for 3 years. We are trying to be patient. People have been patient with him, but he is not only sliding back to what we are doing, he is being very disrespectful to the people who has died for this change. For the people who have put everything to get this change to happen, Barrow is really disrespecting him. He is trying to constrict the democratic space. He's playing politics of patronage. There's corruption. Corruption is rife in this government, and really he is not getting a grip. He is trying to do everything to strengthen his grip to power, but he is not taking the grip on issues that we want changed. We still working with moderates in this government. We still are working with APRC supporters. He is bringing people that have hurt many people in the past. People like Sidin Jai, who stood by Jammeh to the last minute to denounce the will of the Gambian people. And now he's on the forefront of Barrow's agenda. These things is disheartening, if you ask me. But UDP, Fat Kamara, like I know, UDP, they are not genuine critics. They did not demonstrate patriotism for everything that they fought for, the principles that they claimed to espouse during the Jammeh era. They came and violated all those principles, and that tells me that it wasn't meant at the time. Maybe whatever they were fighting for, they know it, but it wasn't genuine, because these principles have been violated. They've condoned it happening. They've defended it, and they have participated in it. If you ask me.
You know, this is what I have a problem with. I mean, all these politicians need to know that Gambians are not toys for them to be toying with us. I mean, we cannot be here. They are our politicians. We have a lot of respect for them. But you cannot tell us this today if it is nice. If it gets bad tomorrow, you want to move us to another phase. I mean, we are not pushed around people. We are not pushed around people. You know, it does not work like that. I mean, that is wrong. They need to realize that when this failure came, the reason why we have this government here for 3 years and many Gambians cannot still feel the change, the problem is the politicians themselves. Because they were all there when everything was going wrong. They never even said anything. That time they were enjoying the per diems, they were enjoying the cars, they were enjoying everything. So you cannot turn around. There is a lot of corruption. When Jammeh was here, everybody knows. You know what happens to you. Everybody took advantage of Barrow because the man is just sitting there looking. He's like, oh, I don't know. So everybody was enriching themselves. That's all that they cared about. So now when you were doing that, people were sitting right here watching you all. So when that enjoyment is over, you said, let me go back. The Omar Walis and the Fatu Kamaras, they will speak for us. I am nobody's spokesperson. I will speak my mind. You can insult me from today until next year. I don't care. Omar.
I will form a
that's
I will appoint you a spokesperson. But Yunus, you seem to have a problem with the people. All the time, this is what comes from Gambians, that Barrow surrounded himself with people, that are not genuine. But this is a common saying in politics. There is no permanent friend, no permanent enemy, but a permanent interest. If Barrow feels that Mr. A is not doing well, I can bring B, then why not? What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that is these people wronged the very people that voted for Barrow to get into office. So there is two arguments. There's a moral argument, and that is the fact that these people wronged us. They stood by someone who maimed, raped, and killed our people. Relatives are still looking for their loved ones. We are hearing all these atrocities that were being perpetuated during the Yahya Jammeh era, and they condoned it, and they still are not sympathetic. Even Sidin Jai, who has switched to to Barrow, hasn't yet publicly apologized to the Gambian people for aiding and abetting a tyrannical regime. So Barrow, like I said, he's not a politician. That he is trying to be a politician now, but he came as an independent candidate who was allowed to come and serve the Gambian people for a transitional period. And he now used that opportunity to create his own political agenda. So that's what he was doing. So there's a moral argument, and you cannot condemn these moral arguments, because more people will vote on moral grounds. When we get to the polls, we know that Barrow, you are not a man of your words. You are not principled. You don't respect the Gambian people. You are incompetent because you failed in all the facets of the governance that we put you in to facilitate. You failed on all of them. So we will meet him in the polls. But for me, the 3-year, 5-year, I'm not sure at the moment. I don't see a suitable alternative, suitable replacement of President Barrow, and I don't want to precipitate a constitutional crisis.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to say to Dr. Yunus, thank you. But like I said, I am not going out for any 3 years jotna. If the constitution says 5, and right now it's 2 years to that, a constitutional crisis, get the vice president, and then after that, and which political party is even ready? Right now, I did not listen to any of these political parties who is telling me policies, what they need to do. All I hear is our people were killed from UDP, or we went through a lot, we suffered a lot. My village has no water. There is no water in Kiangurokan. They have only one pump, that is what is there. There are even Kiang is too far. There are places here that have no water. You need to tell us. The political parties need to go back and put their acts together. If I were them 2 years, I will give myself time and make sure that I work on all my policies and try to convince the voters so that when I come in, they will vote for me. But thinking that they can rush us again and fool us again, we are sick and tired of that. We're not going to allow that. So let's do 5 years. We take our time, go back to the drawing board, do your homework, and come back and talk sense to us.
So you're not ready for 3 years flat.
What Jotna? What Jotna? 5 years. Let the political parties go back to the drawing board and get themselves sorted and get themselves ready. What are they telling us?
Well,
PDOIS is the one that would come and talk to us about policies. Apart from PDOIS, who else? You talk to the UDP, they will tell you, go online and look at our manifesto. That's what they tell you.
You see, PDOIS,
yes.
PDOIS, they're close to being the type of politicians people get part of that, but they are on the opposite extreme. They can, like I give an analogy the other day, they're the type that would sit in one place, look at a car coming towards their only mud hut, and they have the ability to stop the car, but they will let the car to go past them and hit the mud hut, and then they'll say the driver has no license and should not be driving in the first place. They believe too much on these procedures and strict adherence to these procedures. That budget supplementary bill, they could have stopped that from coming through, but they ignored it and let it happen to say that the process was illegitimate and we will do it. And now Gambians have to deal with it. So these are the kind of issues that I see with PDOIs. They're very rigid, and they like everything to go in a certain way, their way, and they're not flexible at all. So for that reason, really, I'm not too keen about them.
Well, I always tell them that the messaging, I mean, that's what the issue is with. They've been trying to sell their message how many years? And until now, there are a few people online who I see who support them, but I think they need to work on their messaging. Enlightenment.
Yeah, that is their. You see, if you cannot simplify a concept in 2 minutes, then you don't understand it yourself. If PDOIs, like I said, this is all part of the rigidity that I said. I don't know, because if they know their message is not resonating with the people, they should be able to simplify it. And this is, by all indication, also a demonstration that you understand these concepts, and you can simplify it to any person, any level, to understand and gain. Like the rule of thumb is, if you cannot explain a vision to someone and get a reaction that signifies both excitement and determination to take part, then you are bound to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be.
And Dr. Yunus, I think one thing our politicians need to know is that this is not the Yaya Jammeh time. I mean, right now Gambians are very well exposed, and this is politics in the 21st century. We're in 2019. The next election is going to be in 2021. They need to know that Gambians are not sleeping anymore, and you cannot just come and tell us stuff, because most of all these politicians who want to contest in 2020, we've seen what they can do, because they were all in the government, right? Except for Halifa Sallah. Yeah. All of them were there. What did they do? What did they achieve? I mean, they were out. I watched the finance minister, then Amadou Sane, saying some of the stuff that he did. But then, you know, we have seen what they can do. I mean, what did they do? What did they do for us to vote for them again to be our next president?
So meaning that they were giving opportunities, but they could not utilize
They were giving opportunities to me. They did not prove themselves. I mean, we're still in the same predicament, in the same problem. What changed? Dabo was vice president, Dabo was foreign minister, Amadou Sane was finance minister, Lamin Damundiba was agriculture minister, Oje was agriculture minister, Aissatou Toure was at health, she was everywhere. Tell me what changed. And this Henry Gomez was there, and now they want us to vote for them again.
How is it so impossible to help at least make a slight difference to the lives of you, to your department? How hard is that?
Exactly.
You talk about the agriculture. Anytime I listen to these people, they'll be talking about fertilizer. Yes. That's all the fertilizers on its own can destroy the soil. You have to look at the proper ways of bringing real mechanized agriculture that would produce at a scale that can feed a small country as small as the Gambia.
Yunus.
We have to first of all look at the seeds. The seeds are not the type that are domesticated to this type of soil that's in Gambia. We keep bringing artificial fertilizers to bring every type of. We have to be systematic in how we do these things. We have to be strategic in how we do it. Bring irrigations, bring tractors and all that. Bring mechanized agriculture. Work on the seeds, the type of seeds that will grow in the type of soil and the environment that we have. Like, I would volunteer this. Even the average farmers can do this. When you have a crop, let's say we are in the rainy season now, keep the seeds from the crops that succeeded in that environment, and use those seeds in the next season. And by going with Mendelian genetics, the principles of Mendelian genetics, you are using the type of plant that is resistant to the pest, to the environment, and the type of and is tolerant to this type of soil that you have. And after 8 rounds of using the same seeds, you get the seeds from the ones that grow best in that environment. Keep those seeds. Use those seeds for the next season. and pick the best that's grown in that environment and keep those seeds for the next season. It takes 8 seasons for you to have the type of seed that would be uniform across the board based on the genetics of these issues. So it's always, I believe we should improve our seeds. UK, not long, they are generating a lot of revenue from seeds. How they make the best seeds for the UK farmers, and they're selling them, and they are making tons of money for it.
Yunus, thank you so much. I can see that the kids,
go take care of the babies.
But how about the healthcare? We have people like Dr. Toure,
Yunus,
and they couldn't do anything in the healthcare system.
Yunus, I was going to say that. Until now at our hospitals, we have women giving birth. It is at that time that we have to put posts on Facebook asking for blood. The same thing happening every day. You know, women are going to come here and give birth. You know, you don't have no blood. You cannot get this blood before the people get there. This is why I'm telling you, all these people who want to be president, they've been there before.
We've seen a lot of women dying of blood shortage during
childbirth. Yes.
I know there is issues with electricity and keeping blood in stock, refrigerated, and waiting for someone who needs it. They can do that. They just have to. If someone needs blood, there's a blood in the fridge for them. They use it, and later on, any person who will donate this person, they donate and they keep that for someone who may need it in the next incident. They keep it refrigerated. I don't know if there's electricity issues, but it tells me. The other day I had people, oxytocin is another issue. Oxytocin is a hormone they should keep in the fridge also for women who go beyond their due date. Because the brain produces oxytocin that triggers women to give birth when their due date comes. But sometimes the brain doesn't do this on time, and people go behind, and then the baby gets bigger and bigger. And then they have serious complications during giving birth. But we don't have any of this. This should be there. And the brain fails to produce oxytocin, and someone is starting to go beyond their due date, they can induce them with this, and within hours they go into labor. Our people, we are not having basic things as basic as electricity to keep these things in the storage to save life. I was very disappointed in Dr. Toure because I believe she was the educated one. She should know better, and through her FGM campaign, she demonstrated passion for our girls. That's why I endorsed her when she came to be when she came as a flag bearer. But really, she didn't do anything. Even in the health sector, she went on a campaign, political rally with Barrow, and she told the people that 40% of all the projects in Barrow's national development plans are all health projects. But she never gave any details of these projects, and we've not seen anything happening. And what we're seeing is our people dying like flies in these hospitals. And I'm also gonna blame you guys a bit, you journalists, because you are allowing these things to happen in a vacuum. Our people, you should be going into our hospitals and speaking to people about how their conditions are, how they are being treated. If we are seeing these things, the nurses and the doctors and all these healthcare workers will be kept on their toes. They will know that the public are seeing how they're doing. They have to be professional. This nonchalant business of being so laid back while our people die is heartbreaking, really.
Yunus, thank you so much for your time.
Dr. Yunus.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yunus.
Thank you, Father.
I interviewed Halifa Sida Jara last time, and I told him, Jawarale Allah concept betinya because socialism means mola musutela musuti.
No, my dear. I'm like here Tony wala.
Don't remind me that century of rubbish.
But I just want to say that Omar, that our politicians once again I just want to let you all know that politics is going to be completely different in this country. It's not going to be business as usual. So if you all think holding big political rallies and giving big talks, if you think that is what is going to earn you the presidency, I think you better go back and check again, because the Gambians are now more exposed. And when I hear people say, oh, Barrow is going to be a dictator, I just sit in my corner and say, who is going to allow it? I mean, we are not going to allow any president to be a dictator in this country again. No president is going to kill anybody, no president is going to beat anybody up, and no president is going to harass anybody, because the people made that change, and we will make sure when that happens, we would stand up and make that change again. To those who are already insulting, calling me all kind of names, good luck to you. I am Fatou Camara. I don't mince my words. I will always continue to speak my mind, and yes, if you ask me, I will always speak about the problems. You don't want to hear it, I'm not going to be nobody's push around person. You think you can mess up when there was nepotism, you all were quiet, you enjoyed it. When it was time for you to enjoy, everything was smooth. And now that you are not in there, you want us to get up automatically and start fighting. I am not fighting anybody's battle. If you want to fight, go ahead and fight. But the president is staying 5 years. The election will be in 2021. Now go cry. Thank you.
So you're not going to fight even my battle?
No.
Why?
Because you can fight for yourself. You can fight for yourself. If anybody wants to fight, let them go and fight for themselves. And now they're saying, oh yes, we know she's supporting Barrow because of Macky Sall. Yeah, now they're putting everybody's name in there. Now they're going to say, I'm supporting you.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, because of, yeah, but anyway, we do not hate any of the political parties, but we're just speaking our mind and what is out there. Because some of these things, not a lot of people would want to say it. If you talk, you know what that comes with it. I have a friend, I'm sure, who's watching right now. The person wrote to me this morning and said, Fatou, I want to start talking about Gambian politics, but they do insult people a lot, and I have a mother who I respect very much. I don't want people to insult my mom. I'm like, you know, that comes with it. If you want to speak about Gambian politics and you don't want to be biased, they will insult you.
Not only politics. If you want to speak about anything this kind of, then tell her to go and start selling ice cream.
And I just want to also say, I saw what they've been doing to Maimuna Sise. I mean, that's very unfortunate. I don't know Maimuna. We don't know each other, but she's a mother and she's a wife. Somebody stood at a meeting and spoke her mind. The next minute, they're calling her all kind of names. That is very, very wrong. I think people should be able to speak their mind. You want the government to give us democracy. Yeah. You don't want us to have democracy. I mean, what kind of thing is that?
Do you know that democracy exists because not everybody agree on the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, but they want the government to say speak your mind. But yeah, Omar Wali and Fatou Camara cannot speak our mind.
That's what I always say.
That's
initially,
madness.
You know, this is something we are new to.
Yeah.
I tell people, my generation, we don't know democracy. I was a little boy, less than 10 years, less than 5 years, when I saw Jawara. The next few months he was overthrown.
It looks like you're big. Jawara is a big fan of yours. You're always posting his pictures.
So
always, he's still your president.
He's my president. Jawara is my president.
Somebody said Omar Wali sound like he received the brown envelope. Yeah. Somebody wrote that on here.
Okay, from Jawara, yes, I do.
But not from Barrow.
Oh no, I don't know.
Yeah,
well, I think it's getting late now. So, viewers, that's all we have for you. From me and Fatou, we thank you so much.
Yes, and then just to say, I'll be coming more often because they didn't insult me for a long time. So I have to be coming every day so the insults can start.
No, you're not allowed.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.